A lot more cannabis licenses are coming to Illinois with HB 1443. Granted, HB 1443 mostly only pertains to the dispensary licenses, but it looks like another 120 of them will be coming to Illinois, and 100% of them will be social equity. Today we're going to be going over the details of the amendments that are in HB 1443, what will be happening next, and tease out our webinar about negotiating dispensary leases, which will be a really hot ticket item. Why? It's time to discuss on this episode of... Hello, I'm Tom, a lawyer that does nothing except for cannabis business, and you can find me on IG at CannabisIndustryLawyer and get in touch with me by filling out the Get Started survey on CannabisIndustryLawyer.com, my law blog. Plenty to unpack in the new amendments on the Illinois cannabis law, from new legal terms of art to additional lotteries and even more dispensary licenses. So let's go! We start with a brand new term of art, the qualifying applicant under Illinois recreational cannabis law. A qualifying applicant means an applicant that submitted an application pursuant to Section 15-30 that received at least 85% of 250 application points available under Section 15-30 on the applicant's final score, and it meets the definition of social equity applicant as set forth under this section. Granted, this is a legal term of art to a very insular minority of people in the state of Illinois that are now the only ones that get to access these new cannabis licenses. This probably violates the special legislation prohibition, because the only people in the whole state that get access to this state-granted right worth billions of dollars is to have already applied and also already obtained 85% of the score. This is literally a law specifically written to benefit just about 500 people out of a state of almost 13 million. Equal protection means rewarding a tiny fraction of people under the law and making them rich, right? And would this be happening if Illinois did not create a limited marketplace for licenses to artificially increase the price of these licenses and their perceived value? No, of course not, provided that you do absolutely nothing to verify the data. But enough about these qualifying applicants. Let's move on to another brand new legal term of art, the qualifying social equity justice involved applicant. It means an applicant that submitted an application pursuant to Section 15-30 that received at least 85% of the 250 application points available under Section 15-30, and the applicant's final score meets the criteria of either paragraph 1 or paragraph 2 of the definition of social equity applicant as set forth under this section. This is another term of art to apply to an even smaller subset of the previous terms of art, because it excludes the 10 full-time employee social equity applicants, which became derisively known as the Slave Masters Clause. Together, these two classes of applicants for a different pool of licenses from the 75 in which they applied for now have exclusive access to up to 120 new dispensary licenses. These licenses are probably valued at least $1 million just for the piece of paper they come on. So that's about $1.2 billion worth of licenses that can only go to people who applied for something else, without any opportunity for anyone else in the entire state to get a chance to participate. Again, the only way to access this benefit was to have to apply for a different thing, so always apply early and often for your cannabis license in your state, because you might have to apply the first time to even be considered for the second time. So what are the benefits of being a qualifying applicant or a qualifying social equity justice involved applicant? For that answer, we need to do some of the procedures for these new lotteries under Sections 15-35. There's going to be another 110 licenses for dispensaries awarded. First, qualifying applicants get a shot at 55 licenses, but no team may win more than 2 licenses in that round. Next, the qualifying social equity justice involved applicants get a shot at another 55 licenses. They are also limited to a max of 2 licenses in that round. Now let's take a hypothetical perfectly scoring winner that is a social equity veteran, but not because they have 10 full-time employees. First, they are entered into that lottery for the 75 licenses that they actually applied for. And remember, there is a maximum limit of 10 licenses. So first they have those lotteries and they get as many licenses as they can, but no more than 10. And if they're less than 10, then they're going to be entered into the qualifying applicant lottery, where that social equity veteran has the chance to win up to another 2 licenses unless they pass that 10 threshold. And then finally, that person would be entered into the Social Equity Justice Involved Applicant Lottery for those 55 licenses, and they could, in theory, win another 2 licenses, of course, provided they have not yet hit their 10 license cap for dispensaries. Talk about freedom, opportunity, and of course, justice. Illinois has taken all of its people, almost 13 million, and screened out over 99% from eligibility of ever being awarded a cannabis dispensary license. See what happens when you attempt to control the supply of licenses? Prices go up, lawsuits follow, legislative fixes benefit a very specific group of people, and the unlawful sale of cannabis in the streets continues. If your policy goal is to eradicate the illegal market, then license caps are not the right tool to accomplish that goal. They will greatly inflate the price of doing business. But enough pontificating, let's get back to HB 1443. Social equity applicants will also get an exemption from the 1,500-foot setback, the distance requirements that were there to keep them separated from other dispensaries. But considering there will still be several hundred more Starbucks than cannabis dispensaries in Illinois, I don't think that'll much matter. HB 1443 also provides for up to an additional 50 conditional adult use licenses to be issued before December 21st, 2022. So there should be a second round of applicants in the coming year. Presumably, only social equity applicants would be able to access those licenses as well if that 85% threshold is used in that lottery. Finally, HB 1443 then amends Illinois' medical cannabis law, a different statute, to provide an additional 5 medical cannabis licenses that also include a +1 for an adult use location. These 5 licenses go on an even smaller subset of the social equity justice involved applicants, the ones that didn't win any licenses previously. However, I'm not really clear as to what is going to happen regarding the application rounds for these 5 new medical licenses, because the new parts of the statute say that there will be new rules that will govern the application procedure for those eligible applicants for one of the remaining 5 dispensing licenses under Illinois' medical program that have never been awarded. We do know that it says there will be an application period in the future for these qualified applicants that did not get a license in the previous lottery, so we'll have to wait and see how that plays out after the first 185 dispensaries are awarded by lottery, hopefully this summer. And you know what that means? That's right, we'll be doing a webinar on negotiating your cannabis lease this summer to help educate winners about what to be on the lookout for when finding a place to open their business. Because the conditional dispensary license in Illinois has no real estate. You have 180 days after you win to find that location, and we'd love to help you out on it. If you do not support license limits and think that social equity means that anyone can get a license, but those that have been arrested should get loans and grants to help them get into the industry, then smash them likes and click subscribe. A diverse industry that reflects the demographics of the community it serves is a wonderful goal. It's a shame that creating an industry with great costs and barriers to entry and limited markets with high compliance costs may frustrate that goal for years to come. Thanks so much for watching Cannabis Legalization News, and I'll see you when it is 420 somewhere.